Oklahoma opens spring practice today. And depending when you're watching this video, they may have already had the practice, or they may already be a few practices into spring camp, right? But people are talking about this spring camp being the most important spring practice in OU history. So no pressure there, Jackson Arnold. But with that said, what do we want to see from new quarterback Jackson Arnold? What do we want to see these next 14 or 15 practices? How do we want to see him develop? Like, what are some areas that we want to kind of focus on as we're keeping track of Jackson Arnold during this spring time? And we've had a few videos out of Arnold the past month or so, some film breakdowns talking about him meshing with new OC Seth Littrell, which is definitely important. But there's a few other factors and a few other areas that we want to see from Arnold. So let's dive into it. But number one, we want to see him take control of the team from a leadership perspective. Before we even talk about developing the offense, before we even talk about what Littrell wants him to do, or before we talk about the tough schedule you got to get ready for, I want to see him take control from a leadership perspective. Take control from leading guys, whether it's vocal, whether that's just by example, probably a little bit of both. But you take control of the team from a leadership perspective. This is his first spring camp being the guy, right? These are his first real practices being the starting quarterback. I know he was a starting quarterback during the bowl lead up and all that stuff, but this is like the next step in the chapter for OU football, and he's the starting quarterback. So from a leadership perspective, you just want to see him take control of the team. Whenever they're down by 6 with 90 seconds left, it's one thing to have the offense believe in you, but when you have the defense believe in you too, that's another big key, right? So you want to get on the same page as your receivers. You want to mesh with the new OC. But number one, I think from a leadership standpoint, you just want to take control of the team and really be the guy, from the offense looking at you to the defense looking at you. Number two, now this is more X's and O's. This is where you want to develop in the offense. You want to learn Littrell's offense. Again, you probably already have a relationship like we talked about. Littrell was there this past year like as an analyst, and you've had time during the offseason. Like during this offseason, I guarantee there have been install meetings, and then you're limited to the amount of time coaches and players can be with you. But like when I was playing, again, not very successfully, but when I was playing in college, they would give us a script. They'd give the quarterbacks, the receivers, a different position group a script, and then we would go out and do these plays, right? So one day we may practice on, okay, hey, we're doing all 2-minute drills. We're doing all 2-minute plays, and they're up in the press box watching us go through this script. So they're not legally with us, so it's not it's not counting against the hours they can be with us, but it's voluntary. It's a voluntary thing, but they're up there and they're watching us go through it, right? So they're kind of evaluating us. I've been on the phone with coaches where they are in the press box watching their team practice during spring ball, right? So this was all happening during the offseason. So he's been learning the offense, he's been learning the system, even though they haven't been practicing it. So now he can take it to practice and develop the system. Now you can get on the same page as your receivers. It's one thing to do it when you're going against air. That's great. That's reps and that's needed, right? But now you're going against a real live, you're in pads and guys are coming at you. It's not just 7v7. Guys are coming at you. They can't hit you, but they're still in your face. And so now you have to kind of use that chemistry you had during the practice times, against air, during 7v7. Now you're using that time to develop that on the field. So connection with wideouts, connection with running backs, and just learning the offense in general. We talked about Arnold, right? The talent is off the charts. He showed the potential in the bowl game. Even with those 3 picks, he had a few plays where he maneuvered in the pocket. You were just like, damn. He was able to rip the ball downfield, and you're like, yeah, there's a reason why he was a high recruit. And then the ability to throw from any arm angle, right? In that game, he was 26 of 45 for 361 yards passing, 2 TDs, 3 picks, had 38 yards on the ground. Also had valuable playing time against BYU when Gabriel got hurt. So from that standpoint, I love that he got his feet wet last year. I love that he's not just jumping in the deep end without any floaties, right? Like he has some established real-life true playing time, which I think goes great into learning the offense and establishing that leadership position. And then number 3, this kind of goes hand in hand with the first point we made about just establishing that leadership perspective and that style, but it's getting more experience being the guy. Like every practice, people are looking at him and they know he's the starting quarterback. So there's more experience how to handle that, experience of how to go about that in practice, experience how to go about that in the locker room, in the weight room, right? He's already had that these past few months during the offseason, but now you have just getting more and more experience being the guy, and in hopes that this leads you to a great a great summer camp, because you're going to be able to take all you do in spring practice, you're going to be able to take it into camp and hopefully or take it into summer and hopefully into fall camp and get you going, right? So the 3 areas I'm looking for, we'll go backwards. Experience being the guy. You have 14, 15 practices to just be the guy. I think that's a great experience. Number 2, learn the offense. And you've been learning the offense like we talked about, but now you can actually put it in it's practice, but in a game-like setting without being a game, right? During these 14, 15 practices, the relationship with your receivers, offensive line, etc. And then number 3, take control of the team from a leadership perspective. I think these are all equally important, especially going into the season like you're going to go into. And we talked about at the beginning of the video that this is the most important spring practice in OU history, or people are talking about it, right? But if you look at the schedule, I mean, it definitely seems like it is, right? You got Tennessee, Alabama at home, and then you're going to Ole Miss. You go to Mizzou, you go to LSU, you go to Auburn too, and then you play Texas, neutral site. But Texas is thought to be a top 5 program in all of college football this year. So what the over-under was like 7.5, I believe, at least whenever it first came out. And so it's a pretty tough schedule, like we talked about. So all these areas I think are really important to happen and to develop and to perform in spring practice, and then let it carry over to summer and to fall camp. But OU fans, I want to hear from you. What do you want to see from Jackson Arnold during spring ball? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And again, if you are a quarterback fan or if quarterback niche is kind of your thing, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all that stuff. It really does help the channel. So again, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.